Hello everyone. What a difference a week can make. And after a mixed start to June, we're hearing forecasts of a significant heat wave heading our way. So while many of us enjoying the sunshine, it's worth remembering to stay hydrated, wear suitable sun protection, take extra care if you're travelling around independently or spending extended periods outdoors. Don't forget, be wise, protect your eyes, and wear shades wherever you can. Hot weather can present additional challenges for people living with sight loss, particularly when moving between bright sunlight and shaded areas. It's also a busy weekend on the island, as the Isle of Wight Festival gets underway. Thousands of visitors will be arriving across the island, bringing a fantastic atmosphere, but also busier roads, transport services and town centres. If you're heading out and about, please allow a little extra time for your journey and don't be afraid to ask for assistance if you need it. Don't forget, Christmas in July is well on its way. So on Saturday, the 4th of July at Millbrook House, there's going to be a lot of festive fun for all ages. Visit from Santa, who has apparently decided to spend his summer holiday on the Isle of Wight. Children's activities, including colouring tables, photo opportunities, refreshments and some fantastic raffle prizes, including children's, pamper, gentlemen's and movie night hampers. If you'd like to get involved, volunteer, donate a prize or simply attend, we would love to hear from you. There is one extra initiative that I'd just like to mention, which is our Hello Everyone QR code. So many GP surgeries across the Isle of Wight are now going to be displaying our QR codes. It's been designed to empower and support in the independence of navigating around unfamiliar environments. I've been really delighted with the positive response so far, but we'd really value even more feedback. Have you used our QR code? Did it help you find the information you needed? Was it easy to access? Or if it didn't work for you at all? I really want to know so that we can continue to refine it and work on it to make the impact what it needs to be. As a charity, we know that the best ideas often come from people who directly use our services. So whether it's QR codes, social groups and activities or support services, your feedback always genuinely shapes what we do next. And finally, just a massive thank you to everyone who continues to support Sight for Wight as always. Whether you are a member, a volunteer, supporter, fundraiser or simply someone who helps spread the word, your contribution makes a real difference to the lives of islanders living with sensory loss. So take care, enjoy the sunshine safely, and we hope to see many of you at Christmas in July.
Here is this week's charity news for the 22nd of June 2026. Swimming at Medina is on Monday between 1:15pm and 2pm. We have the whole pool, so whether you wish to swim lanes or just have gentle exercise in the pool, you'll be made very welcome. The cost is £6 and transport is available, although limited. All members are very welcome to join.
Tandem biking is now on the Tuesdays along the Cowes cycle track. If you would like a go on a tandem, please do not hesitate to call the office and we can arrange a suitable time.
Yoga will now restart in September at Millbrook House at 2pm. If you would like to join the group, please call the office and ask for more details.
Coffee and chat is on Wednesday starting at 10am until 11:30am. The cost is £2 to include drinks and cake. Staff are on hand to help with any queries and to demonstrate equipment.
We have Dave from Synaptic joining us for our coffee and chat morning on Wednesday the 22nd of July from 10am to 1pm. Following this is a message from Dave about who Synaptic support and what they will be bringing along with them. Here at Synaptic, our mission is to design easy-to-use products that ensure people with sight loss have access to mainstream mobile technology, regardless of their previous experience or ability. We pride ourselves on our unique understanding of the needs of people with sight loss and the challenges they can face when accessing technology. Customer-led design is at the heart of what we do. This is reflected in our award-winning and innovative products, which are designed to open up access to the latest technology in a way that is easy and intuitive to use. We have easy-to-use phones, tablets, smartwatches, and accessories, whatever your level of sight loss.
Mix and Mingle is on Thursday at Millbrook House. This group enjoys crafts, quizzes, and entertainment. If you would like to put your name down on the list, please call the office.
We have trips on the Spirit of Scott Bader available. This is a catamaran and will sail from East Cowes for half a day or full day sailing in the Solent. For more information, please call the office. Sainsbury's Newport has changed their shop layout following major refurbishment. If anyone would like to book a route familiarisation session with Emma, our trainee mobility officer, please call the office and she will be able to book you in a time.
We are busy planning our Christmas in July event on the 4th of July. We are appealing for good bric-a-brac, tombola prizes, jigsaws, books, raffle prizes, and any Christmas decorations. If you have any donations, please drop off at Millbrook House, or if you can't, please call the office and we can arrange a collection.
This is an urgent appeal to anyone who you may know that could drive our minibus. We are in desperate need for volunteers to drive it, especially on a Thursday afternoon. If you have a neighbour, friend, relation who may be interested, please ask them to call the office and speak to Susan.
We've had an update about the next upcoming Striders group. We're going to cancel the stride for Friday the 26th of June and do the stride on Friday the 3rd of July instead. The location will be unchanged, starting at the Merry Gardens in Lake. More information to follow.
Hello, this is Steve reading a story from Isle of Wight Radio with the headline, Councillors back plans for holiday home on Tortland Pier. New proposals to transform a disused restaurant on Tortland Pier into one of the most unique holiday homes on the Isle of Wight have won the backing of local councillors. However, they have pressed for the return of the cafe and at the other end of the pier, which only operated for a short time. Tortland Pier Limited's application for permission to retain the two-storey pierhead structure as built and change its use from a restaurant to a holiday accommodation has received support from Tortland Parish Council. The proposal would provide a unit with 4 ensuite bedrooms and a utility room on the main deck level according to mode design. There would also be a large open plan kitchen, dining and lounge space with a small study, pantry and cloakroom on the upper deck level. A spokesman for Tortland Parish Council said, Councillors raised no objections to the retention of the building and the proposed change of use to holiday accommodation, recognising that the scheme represents a difference from the design approved under planning permission P/01745/10. That included the restoration of the pier, demolition of the cafe building and its replacement with a cafe, retail unit and garage, together with the erection of a holiday unit. Councillors highlighted the importance of ensuring that the public access along the pier to the gatehouse continues to be maintained. The Council also wishes to encourage the applicant to explore opportunities to reopen the cafe. They said the Parish Council strongly supported the original cafe proposal and is disappointed the facility has only operated for a limited period. Tortland Parish Council considers the provision of a cafe to be a valuable asset both for residents and visitors and would welcome its future return, the spokesperson added. The Isle of Wight Council's public consultation on the application finishes on Friday, June the 19th, and the decision is scheduled for July 13th. Hi, this is Steve reading a story from the Island Echo with the headline, Services Have Not Been Good Enough. Southern Water Boss apologises to Isle of Wight residents. Councillors from the Isle of Wight Council have met with senior representatives from Southern Water, including Chief Executive Lawrence Gosden, Chief Operating Officer Tim McMahon, and members of the company's leadership team to address the significant water and wastewater challenges facing the island. The meeting, held last week at County Hall, was constructive and candid, reflecting the seriousness of the issues and a shared commitment to improve outcomes for residents, businesses and the environment. Southern Water acknowledged that its services on the Isle of Wight have not consistently met the standards expected by customers and communities. The company apologised for this and set out its plans to deliver long-term improvements. Councillors robustly challenged the company, raising a wide range of concerns on behalf of their residents and businesses. This included sewage outfalls, water quality, repeated flooding and overflows, and specific issues in areas such as Bembridge and at the Bryston sewage treatment works, where there have been instances of sewage leakage and outfall spillages. Councillors sought clarity on when improvements would be made at Bryston, given that it is not currently included in the water company's listed programme of upgrades. Recent incidents were highlighted, including untreated sewage flowing along Millfield Avenue in East Cowes, entering people's gardens and the sea, triggering temporary do not enter the water bathing alerts and causing significant damage to the road surface. Councillors pressed for confirmation of when repairs would be completed. Concerns were also raised about the use of Albany Green as an emergency wastewater transit point, where large numbers of tankers, at times up to 30, have been required to operate in a constrained and sensitive location, with calls for a safer and more sustainable approach. Failures linked to the Spring Hill pumping station were also discussed, with councillors seeking assurances on resilience and future investment. Southern Water confirmed further details on plant improvements and timescales would be provided. Members also highlighted the ongoing disruption caused by poorly coordinated utility works across the island's already constrained road network. Building on lessons from the Horsebridge Hill, councillors stressed the importance of meaningful engagement with ward members before and during works. Southern Water acknowledged this and committed to improved coordination with the council, island roads and other utilities. Meanwhile, concerns were raised about the frequent classification of works as emergency, limiting proper planning and communication. Southern Water accepted the need for greater transparency and more appropriate classification wherever possible. Councillors were very clear in representing the strength of feeling within their communities and the expectation that improvements must now be delivered. The island continues to face well-documented challenges relating to sewage discharges, combined sewer overflows, that's CSOs, and ageing infrastructure, with ongoing concerns about impacts on rivers, coastal waters and bathing water quality. Particular concern was raised about conditions in West Wight, including the Western Yar, Freshwater, Tortland and Colwell. These concerns include repeated sewage discharges and overflows, the effect on bathing waters and beach closures, the impact on tourism and local businesses, and the wider loss of public confidence in Southern Water's ability to protect residents, visitors and the local environment. Southern Water confirmed that the island's water and wastewater network is among the oldest in the country, underlining the scale of the challenge. The company reiterated that addressing these issues will require a fundamental overhaul of the sewer system, including reducing the volume of rainwater entering combined sewers, which is a key driver of overflows. Southern Water has confirmed it is investing on the island to improve environmental performance and secure future water supplies. This includes accelerated work approved by Ofwat to reduce storm overflows at 8 locations, including Gurnard, Cowes, Ryde and Freshwater, as well as across the West Wight. Alongside this, the company is upgrading infrastructure, trialling new technologies, and working with partners to reduce the amount of rainwater entering sewers in the first place. Both parties agreed that addressing these challenges will require a long-term, systemic approach. This will include reducing surface water entering the sewer network through sustainable drainage, that's SUDS, and catchment-based solutions. Ensuring new development does not add further pressure to sewer networks that are already failing or operating beyond acceptable capacity, including a clear commitment that Southern Water will not support or facilitate new connections unless the necessary capacity upgrades are identified, funded, scheduled and delivered first. Strengthening joint working with Island Roads to better coordinate utility works and reduce disruption. Improving communication with residents, businesses and elected members. Exploring nature-based solutions and upstream interventions, including work with farmers and landowners. Reviewing and exploring potential new freshwater sources to improve the island's water resilience, including consideration of groundwater and natural resources within areas such as the Undercliff, which is known for its complex hydrogeology and the presence of water within its landslip. Providing clearer local data and public reporting on sewage spills, storm overflow activity, tankering, maintenance failures, pump failures, emergency releases, asset capacity constraints, and the timescales for planned upgrades. Both the Council and Southern Water agreed to strengthen partnership working and to establish clearer mechanisms for ongoing engagement, coordination and accountability. Lawrence Gosden, the Chief Executive of Southern Water, said, "We understand that Isle of Wight residents have concerns about our work on the island, and we take these very seriously. I want to apologise that our services have not always been good enough. The discussion was positive and constructive, and it is clear we need to work even more closely with the Council and local communities. We're investing more than £67 million to improve environmental performance and secure future water supplies, including accelerating work to reduce storm overflows at key locations. Alongside this, we are upgrading infrastructure, trialling new technology, and working with partners to reduce the amount of rainwater entering sewers, all of which will help protect bathing waters and the island's environment in the long term. We will continue to engage with the local community, to listen to feedback and share updates on our progress." Simon Moon, Strategic Director for Community Services at the Isle of Wight Council, who chaired the meeting, said, "This was a frank but constructive discussion about issues that matter deeply to island residents, from sewage discharges and the situation at Bembridge and in the West Wight, to the disruption caused by roadworks and emergency responses such as tanker operations in East Cowes. We have been clear that communities expect both immediate improvements and sustained long-term investment, including greater resilience in how water is sourced and managed on the island. This must be the first of a series of discussions, and we welcome the opportunity to continue this dialogue. The Council is committed to working with Southern Water, but partnership must be matched by transparency, measurable commitments, and clear delivery timescales. We will continue to challenge where necessary to ensure residents, businesses, visitors, bathing waters, and the island's environment are protected."
Hello, this is Madeline,
And this is Sam.
and we're reading the second part of Talking News. Russian ships' warning shots were unnecessary. A woman who was on board a yacht off the island when sailors on a Russian warship fired warning shots, and the incident was a bit scary. Jane Kelvey, 68, and her husband Alan, 70, were on their 40-foot yacht, Bright Future, travelling towards France when they encountered Russian frigate Admiral Grigorovich. The Ministry of Defence said the Russian vessel fired warning shots to avoid a collision after making attempts to contact the yacht. "It was a bit scary," Mrs. Kelvey told the paper. "I crouched down. I didn't think our safety was in danger, but it was certainly unusual. As we sailed away, we said to each other, 'What the hell has just happened?'" Mrs. Kelvey said the shots were totally unnecessary, adding, "We didn't have any contact from the Admiral Grigorovich on our radio. Russian warships passing through the English Channel are routinely shadowed by the Royal Navy, with offshore patrol vessel HMS Mersey monitoring the Admiral Grigorovich at the time of the incident on Tuesday, June the 16th. The British couple, who were about 20 nautical miles south of the island, said they contacted the UK Coast Guard before a boat from HMS Tyne, another patrol vessel, was sent to gather details and check they were safe. A translation of a statement posted on the Telegram channel for the Russian Defence Ministry said the yacht had been on a dangerous approach and the warning shots were fired after attempting to draw the attention of the yacht's crew through signal flares and sound signals. It said the Russian sailors had acted in strict accordance with international shipping regulations. The Kelvies insisted they were not on a collision course. Mrs. Kelvie told BBC's Newsnight, "It's just not true. They're blaming us, and as far as we're concerned, we were blameless." The 68-year-old said the Russian warship did not appear on the automatic identification system, a maritime tracking system. "They didn't radio us. They could have seen us coming from miles off because we were displaying our AIS. The first thing we knew was the 5 blasts of a horn. We turned to port, followed by the next 5 blasts, and then the gunfire, and so we just turned." Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said the warship was reckless, but stressed that there was no sign it was anything more sinister. Isle of Wight East MP Joe Robertson said it was another very stark reminder that government must fund defence properly. "It was only by chance that the Ventnor boats were inshore," he said. Richard Quigley, West MP, said, "It does highlight the very real danger of Russian action close to our shores."
New Assistant Coroner appointed. A new Assistant Coroner has been appointed for the Isle of Wight in a move to reduce inquest backlogs. Darren Samat took up the role in January as part of the Chief Coroner's annual recruitment programme. Watched on by Isle of Wight Coroner Caroline Summeray, Mr Samat sat at the Isle of Wight Coroner's Court on Wednesday, June the 10th. Mr Samat, who does not live on the island, is a barrister practising in criminal law. A spokesperson for the Isle of Wight Council said, "We are delighted to welcome Darren to the team." 2 assistant coroner roles were previously advertised with a salary of £519 per day. Assistant coroners are required to sit a minimum of 20 days a year. A job advert describes the role's overview as supporting the senior coroner in providing a high-quality coroner service that puts the bereaved at the heart of the process. The council confirmed it is also in the process of seeking to appoint an additional assistant coroner, hopefully later this year. Mr Samat's appointment comes a year after the council implemented a comprehensive recovery plan to address the backlog of inquests. In 2024, Ms Summeray concluded just 38 inquests. That rose to 236 last year, with many completed in writing. At the end of 2025, 197 cases were still outstanding for longer than 12 months. Ms Summeray previously said she would like an assistant coroner so she could run 2 courts to hear outstanding inquests.
Season of Song marks choir anniversary. An island choir is marking a major milestone with a season of song. Medina Community Choir is celebrating its 20th anniversary with a series of concerts in July and its 8th overseas tour to France. Founded in 2006 by Isle of Wight community champion Hannah Breer, the choir has grown into one of the island's most vibrant music groups, uniting people of all ages through a shared passion for singing. 2 concerts were launched this summer's celebration, each featuring a broad selection of choral favourites. The set list includes pieces by composers such as Eric Whitaker and John Rutter, alongside pop and rock hits by artists including Queen, Madonna, Lionel Richie and Toto. Performances will take place at the Minster in Newport on Saturday, July the 4th, and St Mary's Church in Cowes on Saturday, July the 11th, both at 7 p.m. Later this summer, the choir will travel to France for its 8th overseas tour, performing in three cathedrals in Paris. These performances continue a tradition of singing at renowned venues, including Carnegie Hall in New York. Before departing for France, the choir will present a special Gospel Gold concert at St Mary's Church in Cowes on Saturday, July the 25th.
Crane owners forced to foot £358,000 repair bill. Taxpayers have been spared tens of thousands of pounds after the Isle of Wight Council won a legal battle against the former owner of Cowes' historic Hammerhead crane. The landmark 150-foot structure, which dominates the Cowes skyline and is the only surviving pre-First World War hammerhead crane of its kind in England, was at risk of collapse due to severe corrosion. Following what the council described as a lack of action from the owners, urgent works notices were issued in 2014 and again in 2016. Using island-based contractors to protect the Grade 2 listed crane, the authority stepped in to carry out stabilisation works. Funding for the emergency works was provided by Historic England, with repairs carried out to key elements of the structure, including the tower, jib and ballast box. Following a series of appeals, the council last year secured a ruling confirming the previous owners of the land were responsible for the costs, meaning taxpayers will not be left to foot the bill. The council has since recovered £358,000 and, after reimbursing the public purse for officer costs, £348,000 has been returned to Historic England. Lee Byrne, the council's conservation projects officer, said, "The Hammerhead crane is a much-loved landmark that reflects the island's proud shipbuilding heritage, and we were determined to see it saved. This outcome ensures that the financial burden falls where it should, with the owners. It also sends a clear message about protecting important heritage assets." Councillor Laura P.C. Wilcox, the local ward member, said, "This has been a hard-fought campaign, and it's thanks to the support of so many people in the community that we finally achieved the outcome we hoped for." Richard Quigley MP and Ed Checkley from the Cowes Hammerhead Crane Trust have been instrumental, showing real determination in helping bring this to fruition. "I'm absolutely delighted and hugely relieved to see such an important part of our heritage secured for the future." Tom Foxall, Historic England Regional Director, said, "This is a win for heritage and a win for the council, who rightly pursued the case with our support."
Huge effort to restore seagrass in the Solent. A major effort is underway to restore seagrass meadows in the Solent. The Solent Seascape Project and its volunteers have planted more seagrass this spring than in any previous year, with hundreds of thousands of seeds and transplants sown across sites in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. At Thorness and Priory Bay, 175,416 seeds and 1,154 seagrass transplants were planted, restoring an area just over 1.5 football pitches in size. Seagrass meadows are crucial for marine life, supporting species such as seahorses, pipefish, cuttlefish, and thornback rays. They also store carbon, stabilise sediment, and help combat coastal erosion. However, up to 92% of UK seagrass has been lost over the past century due to pollution, dredging, boat anchoring, and coastal development. Tim Ferrero, Senior Specialist in Marine Conservation at the Trust, said, "We have had our most successful year since we started working on seagrass restoration, collecting and planting 3 times as much seed as we ever have before. This has helped us to really start the process of restoration at scale. None of this would have been possible without the tireless efforts of our wonderful Solent seagrass champions, who have already put in 500 hours of voluntary work this year."
Ferry fares on agenda for Minister. Ferry fares and environmental impacts were up for discussion during a ministerial visit to the island. Isle of Wight West MP Richard Quigley welcomed the Minister for Industry to the island for a round table focused on the Emissions Trading Scheme, ETS, and its effects on cross-Solent ferry services. The meeting took place on Thursday, June the 11th, and was attended by chief executives of the ferry operators, the leader of the Isle of Wight Council, business representatives, tourism officials, and government departments. Richard Quigley said, "Everyone on the island knows that our ferry services are already too expensive, so I have been clear from the beginning that despite the noble environmental objectives of the scheme, the island must be recognised for its unique reliance on the ferries, just as is the case with Scotland and Northern Ireland. I will keep working with whoever I need to in order to bring our ferry fares down." During the meeting, operators raised concerns about how the ETS could further increase costs and push up ticket prices for passengers. Although the ETS aims to reduce emissions, Mr Quigley has argued that it would not work for the Isle of Wight ferry service due to insufficient grid capacity and a lack of viable alternative fuel options until at least the mid-2030s.
13-bed HMO plan at former surgery excessive. Fresh plans to convert a former doctor's surgery in the island's county town into a 13-bed house in multiple occupation have been criticised as excessive and lacking parking capacity. 5 members of the public have so far objected to Rufus O'Wallaby's revised planning application for a change of use of 16 West Street in Newport, citing issues such as privacy, noise, and antisocial behaviour. The proposal includes 13 bedrooms and 2 communal kitchens, living and dining rooms, with a shared garden at ground floor level. Mr O'Wallaby's agent, Paul Stack Planning, previously said the plans represent an appropriate and sympathetic introduction of low-cost accommodation. West Street resident Simon Johnson said, "Parking in West Street has long been an issue. It is very difficult to find a parking space. To provide only 3 parking spaces for 13 residents is frankly laughable." Another neighbour, Stephanie Bailey, said, the application seems excessive and that more cars will cause more issues. Island Roads made no objection to the proposals, subject to a highway safety condition being imposed. A decision is expected on July the 1st.
Punk band heading to Canada for tour. An Isle of Wight punk band are heading to Canada for a summer tour. Stormtrooper, who reunited this year for their first live shows since the 1970s, will cross the Atlantic in August for a 4-city tour. Jeff Piccinini, bassist and founding member, and guitarist Nigel Hutchings will be joined by drummer Kevin Mann and guitarist Graham McCulloch. Mr. Piccinini and Mr. Hutchings said, "We are super excited to be travelling to Canada. With Kevin on drums and Graham on guitar, we are ready to rock the house down. Strap yourselves, Canadian punk rockers, we are on fire." The tour kicks off in Toronto, followed by supporting slots for horror punk legends The Undead in Montreal, Ottawa and Quebec City. Stormtrooper originally played just one live show before releasing their debut single, I'm a Mess, in 1977 on Solent Records. The track became a cult classic, with punk legend Sid Vicious spotted wearing a promotional badge for the band. Earlier this year, the band returned to the stage for the first time since 1975 and will release a retrospective CD of old recordings this summer. On October the 3rd, they will headline a triple bill at the Hope and Anchor in Islington, joined by 1970s punk bands Trash and Social Security.
New Air Ambulance HQ opens. Hampshire and Isle of Wight Air Ambulance has officially opened its multi-million-pound new headquarters, and it's already helping save and transform even more lives. The charity has completed the move to the impressive new site, just yards from the runway at Southampton Airport, after 13,000 donors helped it raise the 3.6 million needed to kit it out. The County Press's sister paper, Daily Echo, which helped launch the Operation Airbase, appealed to transform office space into a purpose-built hangar and admin hub for all the charity staff, attended a grand opening event alongside civic dignitaries, media and supporters. They were shown around the state-of-the-art facility, which includes an impressive visitor centre with panoramic views over the helipad, a winter garden and great crew training, recuperation and fitness facilities. The move from Thruxton means that crews can now reach almost every patient in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight within 10 minutes of takeoff, halving response times, and medics say that it's already making a huge difference to patient outcomes. Medical Director Dr. Chris Hill, one of the charity's team of 17 doctors, who also works for University Hospital Southampton as a consultant in emergency medicine, said, "In situations where every single minute does matter, the new location is completely transforming what we can do for patients. We are finding that we are often now first on the scene, even before the ambulance service, and it's making a significant difference. We're on the scene of murders, stabbings, and pretty much any major news event. So to be able to come back here and reset and go back out into those challenging conditions is a powerful thing." Chair of Trustees Rebecca Brackwell-Slade believes the charity now has the perfect location to continue to thrive. She said, "I joined 5 years ago, and one of the first things I was told was that we would have to move. When, during our search, this facility came up literally a couple of 100 metres from our exact ideal location, it was like the stars had aligned. There's a real sense of pride and passion about this place.
All the Chamber Business Awards finalists revealed. A spectacular ceremony is set to shine a spotlight on business success across the Isle of Wight. This year's Isle of Wight Chamber Business Awards will take place at Bembridge Fort on Friday, September the 11th, and will celebrate achievements across the island's business community. The awards recognise excellence, innovation and achievement among businesses of all sizes and sectors, from long-established organisations to emerging enterprises. The County Press is delighted to be shortlisted for a Training and Development Award for ensuring all our journalists are professionally trained and offering regular development opportunities and rewards for excellence. Rob Johnson, Chief Executive of the Isle of Wight Chamber of Commerce, said, "Every year the Chamber Awards remind us just how much talent, ambition and innovation we have on the Isle of Wight, and this year is no exception. Our finalists represent an impressive mix of businesses and organisations from every sector and of every size." The 2026 ceremony marks a new chapter for the awards, taking place in the spectacular setting of Bembridge Fort. Mr. Johnson said, "Congratulations to everyone who has been shortlisted. Reaching this stage is an achievement in itself, and we look forward to bringing the island business community together."
Businessman's OBE in King's Birthday Honours. A prominent island businessman has been honoured in the King's Birthday Honours list. Jeff Underwood, founder and CEO of In-Flight Peripherals Limited, has been awarded an OBE for his contributions to the technology industry. Mr. Underwood established IFPL after attending an industry event in Orlando in 1996. The company, with bases in Calbourne and Newport, designs and manufactures equipment for in-flight entertainment and connectivity systems. It has become a leading specialist manufacturer and has been recognised with the Queen's Award for Enterprise. Beyond his business endeavours, Mr. Underwood is involved in community and civic roles. He founded the White Aid Foundation, which directs donations from local businesses to support charitable projects across the Isle of Wight. He also served as a president of the Isle of Wight Chamber of Commerce and created the Isle of Wight Technology Group. Currently, he is a Deputy Lieutenant of the Isle of Wight, assisting the Lord Lieutenant with civic and ceremonial duties. He also served as the High Sheriff of the Isle of Wight for 2019-20, during which he established and led a local COVID crisis appeal committee.
HMO scheme at hotel for working residents only. A 13-room house in multiple occupation HMO scheme has been submitted for a hotel, and the owner says it is for working island residents only. Lorraine Barrett has proposed alterations and a conversion of the Lauren Hotel at 90 Sandown Road, Lake, a site also occupied by residential accommodation. Ground floor plans lodged with County Hall show 5 bedrooms, a family room, lounge, gym and a laundry room. On the first floor there would be 7 bedrooms, a lounge and a HMO office. A bungalow at the site would remain under the proposal. The owner said, "I would like to inform the public that the proposed plans to convert the Lauren Hotel into a HMO are for working island residents only. The applicant has no intention of using the property to accommodate individuals who do not have the legal right to reside in the jurisdiction and will take all reasonable steps required by law to ensure compliance with relevant immigration, housing and tenancy regulations. The proposed change of use is intended to address local housing needs and provide suitable accommodation for members of the island community. Unfortunately, people will always jump to conclusions. This is why we feel some clarification is needed. The council last year gave Mrs. Barrett permission for a conversion of part of the Lauren Hotel to form 3 flats. Her agent, Trade Plans, previously said the hotel is more akin to a hostel and only operates for 4 months of the year. It's said that for the last 23 years, the premises has specialised in school children parties in association with their relevant schools. Island Roads has made no objection to the latest plans. The Isle of Wight Council's public consultation ends on July the 3rd, with a decision due on July the 23rd.
Strike threats over RNLI closure of boat factory. Around 50 workers at the island's RNLI Inshore Lifeboat Centre are threatening strike action amid claims the charity is refusing to negotiate redundancy terms or recognise their union. Last month, the RNLI confirmed it would close the boat building base in East Cowes by 2028, moving production to one site in Poole. The RNLI said the decision to close the site has been motivated by changing demand. A petition has been set up to urge the charity to reconsider, citing job losses for the 70-strong workforce and the huge impact on the community and marine industry. Throughout the closure process, the Unite claims the RNLI has failed to recognise the union. Unite said there is a clear desire from workers to have the union negotiate on their behalf. However, the RNLI is still refusing. In January, Unite started the formal legal process through the Central Arbitration Committee to ask for statutory recognition. Unite General Secretary Sharon Graham said, "The RNLI has acted disgracefully towards our members. The RNLI must stop ignoring its workers' wishes for recognition and collective bargaining. Our members at the RNLI have Unite's full support in this fight to have their voices heard." Unite said the charity is also refusing to negotiate redundancy terms for the workforce, and as such, staff will be balloted on strike action. The ballot opens on June the 22nd and closes on July the 6th. Unite Regional Officer Jamie Major said, "I'm shocked by the RNLI's behaviour during the dispute. This is the first time I have had to drag a charity that is a household name through the legal process, kicking and screaming. It is highly disappointing that it continues to refuse Unite's bid for recognition, especially at a time of such uncertainty for our members. The RNLI must change tack, otherwise it faces a disruptive dispute backed by the general public. The IRC on Clarence Road has been open since 1963 and builds and maintains up to 80 boats each year. The RNLI previously said more clarity will be given on redeployment and development opportunities for staff at the ILC during 2027, and it will engage with staff and their employee representative groups.
Exceptional standards. An exceptional early years setting has been praised by inspectors for providing an extremely high standard of quality education and care. Ofsted rated Ventnor Community Early Years Centre on Newport Road exceptional for inclusion as well as leadership and governance, hailing its passionate leaders and staff. The centre has thanked its incredible and long-standing team and said it endeavours to lead practice which is transformational for children and inspirational for early years practitioners. Inspectors marked the provision's strong standard for 4 other categories: achievement, behaviour, attitudes, and establishing routines, children's welfare and well-being, and curriculum and teaching. Their report said, children thrive at this exceptional and inclusive setting. Leaders and staff are passionate about providing the best possible outcomes for all children, particularly for those children who face barriers to their learning, such as those with special educational needs and/or disabilities. Consequently, all children make excellent progress from their starting points. Other commendations include the provision's highly skilled staff, who ensure each child has a tailored programme and extremely high attendance, the latter having a significant and positive impact on children's future outcomes. A spokesperson for the centre said, "Our inspection results grade us at the top in the country, and this is a testament to the dedicated and highly skilled team. Our practice is worthy of national recognition, and it is an honour to share it widely. We are incredibly proud to be one of the only early years provisions to be awarded exceptional under the new framework. We have an unwavering passion for the highest quality early years education and care. Thank you to our wonderful community for their dependable support in trusting us with providing outstanding care and education to the island's young children."
Sponsored walk to raise funds for barbecue. A care home resident has completed a sponsored walk to help raise funds for a new barbecue. John Miller, 76, who lives at the Briars Care Home in Sandown, raised more than £250 by walking from the care home to the Steamer Inn in Shanklin on June the 8th. The walk was completed using a walking frame and was supported by Lucas Valvona, Activities Coordinator at the Briars. He took on the challenge to support the home's residents' fund, and the money raised will go towards purchasing a new barbecue for garden parties and social events. On arrival at the Steamer Inn, Mr. Miller was met with applause and a choir singing "These Boots Are Made for Walking" before enjoying a celebratory meal of sausage and mash. Mr. Valvona said, "John showed fantastic determination by taking on this walk, and he's already asked if he can do another one next year." The Briars is run by Greensleeves Care. It offers residential, dementia and respite care.
Nuisance tag is condemned. The owner of a village convenience store has condemned a nuisance tag next to his shop amid a spate of graffiti in Nettleston and Seaview. Concerns surfaced at the area's parish council on Monday, June the 15th, with clerk Brian Jennings suggesting a £500 antisocial behaviour fund and councillor Patricia Redpath warning the problem could grow if not addressed. Councillor Stuart Moulton urged the public body to suggest, encourage, cajole to get a marking outside Vix's Nisa local at Nettleston Green removed as soon as possible. Mr. Jennings said there had been a spate of graffiti in the parish, although later remarked that it was not a massive problem, to which Councillor Redpath said it was not at the moment, but that it could be. A member of the public, Philip Redpath, said it was a natural instinct for human beings to want to fill empty spaces. Mr. Redpath asked where there could be a whitewashed wall for people to graffiti on, and which could be covered over on occasions. You never know, you might get a new Banksy, he added. Councillor David Adams was unconvinced, telling the meeting, graffiti artists, they know we would come along and just repaint the white wall. Speaking to the Local Democracy Reporting Service, LDRS, after the meeting, the Nisa store owner, Pranay Patel, 44, labelled the graffiti a nuisance. He said, obviously it's an unwanted expense for any business to keep replacing it. My plan is to remove it or try to find a solution to get rid of it. No one wants to see graffiti on their walls. There's only so much from a business point of view we could do to prevent that. Asked if there was any assistance or support he would like from the parish or county council, Mr. Patel said any help would be great and mentioned a Portsmouth City Council scheme helping affected businesses. They removed the graffiti the first time and it happened again. It was the business owner's responsibility to remove it, he said. However, the businessman said that there was an issue of where councils draw the line given the scale of graffiti incidents. I reckon in 6 months it'll be tagged again, either by the same people or someone else, he said.
Drink driver nearly triple legal limit. A drink driver who crashed his Volkswagen car into parked vehicles after reaching nearly 3 times the legal limit has been banned from the roads. Joseph Marshall of Newport Road Cows appeared for sentencing at the Isle of Wight Magistrates Court on Tuesday, June the 9th. At an earlier hearing, the 46-year-old admitted to drink driving in Cowes on March the 1st. Police were called at around 7:30 p.m. after a woman sitting in her living room heard a loud bang outside her home on Newport Road. When she went to investigate, she discovered her partner's work van had been damaged, said Robert Salami, prosecuting. The woman saw Marshall get out of a blue Volkswagen Touran at the scene. The crash involved 2 parked vehicles near Cowes Medical Centre. Marshall failed a roadside breath test. Tests later revealed a reading of 103 micrograms, almost 3 times the legal limit of 35. For Marshall, Oscar Vincent said his client, who had no previous convictions, had been struggling with mental health issues and had sought help for about a year. On the day in question, he experienced a build-up of what was described as crippling anxiety and turned to alcohol as a coping mechanism. A pre-sentence report identified a number of underlying factors, too sensitive to be aired in open court, but he noted Marshall had shown remarkable insight into his offending behaviour. He acknowledges he has a problem with alcohol, which led to the offence, Mr. Vincent said. Mr. Vincent added that Marshall had not consumed alcohol for 7 weeks. The court also heard Marshall has caring responsibilities which required him to drive. However, magistrates disqualified Marshall from driving for 26 months, backdated to April the 7th, when an interim ban was imposed. Marshall was also handed 12 months probation to include 6 months of alcohol treatment. He was fined £80 and ordered to pay £85 in costs.
Banned driver smashed barrier as he fled police. A disqualified driver has been jailed after a 90 miles per hour police chase which saw him drive straight over a roundabout and travel on the wrong side of the road. Sean Lloyd Fagan of Ashy Road in Ryde appeared at the Isle of Wight Crown Court via video link from HMP Isle of Wight on Friday, June the 12th. The 35-year-old had previously pleaded guilty to criminal damage, dangerous driving, driving whilst disqualified, and driving without insurance. He also admitted a further offence of failing to surrender to court bail. Prosecutor Nate Lara said the incident took place on November the 16th, 2024, starting at Orida Hotel's Maidstone. The court heard Lloyd Fagan became angry and flipped over a table inside the hotel, prompting police to be called. He then got behind the wheel of a Lexus IS and drove through the hotel's barrier, causing £500 worth of damage before making off from officers. Mr. Lara said Lloyd Fagan drove at speeds of up to 90 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone, went straight over a roundabout, drove the wrong way round another, and travelled on the wrong side of the road. After around 3 minutes, officers were forced to abandon the pursuit due to safety concerns. Lloyd Fagan was not arrested until March 7th, 2025. He initially denied the offences before pleading guilty in January. It was also heard that just a month before the incident, on September the 17th, 2024, Lloyd Fagan had been disqualified from driving for 16 months following a drink-drive offence. Defending, Nathaniel Bohr admitted it was fortunate no one was injured as a result of the driving. He told the court Lloyd Fagan is a gold and commodities trader with more than 40 clients who depend on him. Mr. Bohr said Lloyd Fagan is the primary carer for a friend and has a very young son, adding that he is determined to turn his life around. The court heard Lloyd Fagan had complied with curfew requirements, checking in at a police station 168 times over 427 days, and had spent 16 days in custody ahead of sentencing. However, Judge Lloyd David Melville noted Lloyd Fagan had been caught again on March the 26th, driving whilst disqualified and without insurance, casting doubt on claims he was committed to change. Sentencing him to 17 months in prison, Judge Melville described the incident as appalling and outrageous driving by someone who took the law into his own hands. Lloyd Fagan was disqualified from driving for 3 years and 8 months.
So we're now moving on to some white memories. The boy with the golden voice. If you were asked what contribution the Isle of Wight has made to UK rock and pop music since the Second World War, you'd probably start with the festivals. And of course you'd be right. But when you look at the musicians who have grown up here and gone on to influence pop, rock, punk and other genres of music, you realise there is much more to it than that. So this series is mainly about them, but not forgetting the festivals, of course. In 1955, rock and roll took the UK by storm. The film Blackboard Jungle crossed the Atlantic. Elvis burst on the scene, and rock and roll became the identity for an entire post-war generation. Skiffle also became a craze with the release of Lonnie Donegan's version of Rock Island Line. The island encountered Skittle firsthand when Donegan played Ryde's Commodore Theatre in February 1957, and then rock and roll when Tommy Steele, the English Elvis, played the same venue weeks later. The county press reported that over 2,600 people attended Donegan's 2 performances. The Commodore and other island cinemas also showed the iconic films Rock Around the Clock, featuring Bill Haley and his Comets, and Rebel Without a Cause. But if rock and roll gripped the nation, there was still space for the clean-cut boy next door, singer of the Pat Boone variety. And one of the leading British versions of Boone was a man from the island, the farmhand and milkman Terence Perkins, later Craig Douglas. Perkins was born in 1941 in Prospect Road, Newport. His family, several of whom were musical, later moved to the Pan Estate, and Terence was educated at Priory Boys' School, later Priory Boys Secondary Modern. One day he came home from his job at Bill Strickland's farm in Calbourne to find his mother had entered him in a talent contest at the Medina Cinema in Newport. This was November 1967, and he was just 16. Singing Mary's Boy Child, he won the contest over some rockers who, as he put it, had bootlace ties, luminous socks, Tony Curtis haircuts, and did Presley stuff. He sang Pat Boone's Love Letters in the Sand to win the first heat. Soon after, he was spotted by the manager and record producer Bunny Lewis and his wife Janique Joel. They encouraged him to turn professional and gave him the stage name Craig Douglas.
After a week at the Empire Theatre, Portsmouth, where he was billed as the boy with the golden voice, Lewis got him on BBC Television's 6-5 special alongside Cliff Richard and Joe Brown. His career really took off when he signed with the record label Top Rank. His second single, Teenager in Love, reached number 13 and, encouraged by this, Lewis got him to record Only 16 at EMI's Abbey Road studios. Sam Cooke's original version had made little impression in the US, but The Milkman from the Isle of Wight took it to number 1, keeping Cliff's Living Doll off the top slot for a week or two. He later became a hugely popular all-round entertainer, moving from earning £4.10 a week on his milk round to an apartment in Dolphin Square, London. Appearances on TV and in the musical comedy film It's Trad Dad helped make him a household name. Once he was marooned in a theatre in Wales as crowds of fans waited outside and had to be smuggled out of town in a hearse. At Ryde Commodore in the summer of 1959, he had to take 4 curtain calls before he could leave the stage. In all, he had 9 top 40 singles, including 4 consecutive number 9 placings on the UK singles chart. Another claim to fame is that he was backed by the Beatles at their first major stage show in October 1962. Brian Epstein organised the show at the Liverpool Empire to give his protégés their first professional booking. Douglas was on just after the Fab Four, who stayed on to back him for his set. Also on the bill was Jet Harris with the Jet Blacks. Watch this space. Incidentally, 2 of the best books about the Beatles were penned by people with island connections. Hunter Davies, who wrote their only authorised biography and who currently lives in the East White, and Philip Norman, author of Shout. Norman grew up in Ryde, where his father Clive ran the Pier Pavilion, otherwise known as the Seagull Ballroom, an important rock venue in the 1950s and 60s. Douglas's star waned as the Beatles ascended, but his career lasted 50 years, and he released a new album in 2011. Douglas, now in his 80s, also made an impression on the Rolling Stones. His review of their first single, Come On, in Melody Maker, was not complimentary, and when they were all on the same bill for the show Thank Your Lucky Stars shortly after, they got their own back by putting empty milk bottles outside his dressing room door, with the note saying, 2 pints please, tucked in. In my next article, we'll look at some of the bands who sprung up on the island in the 1950s and 60s.
And now we have my view from Jules Baker Smith. Something has shifted in the way we behave. There was a time, not even that long ago, when disagreement was considered healthy. Friends could argue politics over dinner, colleagues could debate ideas in meetings, families could hold entirely opposing views and still sit together on a Sunday afternoon. Somewhere along the way, that ability seems to have disappeared. Since the pandemic, something fundamental has shifted in the way we speak to one another. Aggression has become woven into everyday conversation. A differing opinion is no longer treated as an alternative perspective, but as a personal attack that must be crushed immediately and publicly. Nuance has vanished, patience has evaporated, and too often basic civility has gone with it. Social media has undoubtedly accelerated this change, rewarding outrage over reflection and confrontation over conversation. The loudest voices dominate, not the wisest. We have become conditioned to respond instantly, emotionally, and often cruelly before even attempting to understand what another person is trying to say. Living on the Isle of Wight, you notice these changes in smaller, more intimate ways. Ours is still a place of villages, familiar faces, and community WhatsApp groups, the sorts of communities where people once prided themselves on neighbourliness. Yet even here, the aggression has become impossible to ignore. I have seen local WhatsApp groups descend into hostility over the smallest disagreements, with people attacking one another personally rather than discussing the issue itself. It's a my view is fact attitude, which is the prevailing message. Conversations that should remain civil quickly become unpleasant, accusatory, and deeply divisive. The speed with which tempers now flare is starting. Even on our roads, patience seems to have disappeared. Dog walkers, horse riders, and pedestrians often encounter drivers or cyclists who seem impatient, dismissive, or unwilling to slow down. Passing horses too closely or too quickly can be dangerous, yet basic courtesy and common sense appear to have disappeared. Only last week, I slowed to crawl to pass a couple of horses, and the car behind me hit the horn. Really? In what world is that okay? I managed not to react verbally to this idiocy, but I have to admit I slowed even more. I think the message was received as no more horn blowing occurred. Years ago, most people have slowed down instinctively, understanding that a moment's inconvenience was simply part of living in a rural community. Now, too many react with anger the second they are delayed for even a few seconds. These may seem like small incidents, but together they point to something much bigger, a growing inability to tolerate inconvenience, difference, or disagreement without immediately resorting to hostility. And yet disagreement is essential in any healthy society. Progress depends upon debate. Democracy depends upon the ability to hear opposing ideas without demanding silence or destruction. We do not all have to think alike to coexist respectfully. Perhaps what is troubling us is not the aggression itself, but how normalised it has become. Civility is now mistaken for weakness. Kindness is dismissed for naivety. The ability to remain calm during disagreement feels increasingly rare and therefore increasingly valuable.
And now on to public information with an article headlined "The Council Already Feels in a Much Healthier State" by Councillor Jonathan Bacon, leader of the Isle of Wight Council. I think it is fair to say that I am still rather surprised to be back in the role of leader of the Isle of Wight Council. After the election, I was approached with the suggestion that, in light of my previous experience, I might take the role. Prior to this, I had not considered it. On reflection, I said that I would be happy to be nominated on the basis that I would remain unaligned to any political group and that my aim would be to promote collaboration rather than conflict between all council members. Contrary to some assertions, no deals were done, and there were no undertakings to support any particular group, nor to support any individual into a particular role. Therefore, as leader, my role will be to support, direct, and guide the council so that it can operate properly and in a positive way. In recent years, this simply was not happening. Tribalism and conflict pervaded the last council to such a level that little was achieved, and we were formally labelled dysfunctional at the end of 2025. My role is also to take the reins as we enter the new experience of being part of a wider combined authority, and to work with other local council leaders to use the powers and funds we will be receiving, and further, to do so with the aim of securing benefits for the island as my overriding concern. Since the May elections, the council already feels in a much healthier state. Unexpectedly, some might think, talk is not about national political agendas, but about sorting out local issues and helping local residents. There is a much more positive outlook and a feeling that we might at last all actually start working together to achieve things and leave behind the well-deserved reputation for pointless bickering and inaction. Aside from addressing our financial struggles, the key issues we need to address are the needs to look at the management of our highways, to address the island's connectivity with the mainland, and to deal with the issues affecting our water supply and infrastructure. We don't have direct powers in some of these areas, but if we are functioning effectively as a council, we can push forward the concerns and needs of residents. I hope to see this happening soon, and will be doing all I can to achieve these ends.
And now we have some things that are going to be going on in the next week or so. Star on bill for sausage and cider. Live music, sausages, cider and a DJ set from a Gavin and Stacey star are on the menu as a popular festival returns for a full day of entertainment and family fun. The Sausage and Cider Festival will be back at Robin Hill on July the 4th. Visitors can look forward to more than 30 cider flavours, craft beer, spirits, wine, cocktails, and more than 20 sausage varieties, including vegetarian and cheese options. The festival will feature a large market, on-stage sausage eating competitions, and headline DJ sets. Matthew Horn, best known for his role as Gavin Shipman in Gavin and Stacey, will perform a special DJ set. Pat Sharp's party DJ set will also bring a soundtrack packed with feel-good classics, sing-along anthems and festival favourites. There will be plenty on offer for families, including a dedicated children's stage with a disco, live entertainers, face painting and character dress-ups. The event will run from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Under 18s must be accompanied by someone above the age of 21. Children under 5 can attend for free.
On Tuesday the 23rd of June, Shanklin Theatre tours at 1:30 p.m, tickets £10. Have you ever wondered what goes on backstage? Here's your chance to take a look and learn about Shanklin Theatre's history at Shanklin Theatre, Prospect Road, Shanklin. Email boxoffice@shanklintheatre.com or phone 06800.
On Sunday the 28th of June, Kids Art at 10 a.m, tickets £8. Kids Art session with tutor Lucia Parra, Key Arts, 15 C Street, Newport. info@keyarts.org. And on the same day, Shanklin Town Brass Band at 3 p.m. Afternoon concert in Reelston Gardens, Popham Road, Shanklin. reelstonbandstand@gmail.com. And on the same day, Folk at the Key at 7 p.m. A free evening of folk music taking place in the Key Arts Cafe every third Sunday of the month. Key Arts, 15 C Street, Newport. info@keyarts.org.
On Thursday, the 25th of June, Hedda Gabler, a drama by Henrik Ibsen, at 7:30 p.m. Tickets £10. If you love the sea and like a good story, come and join us for 2 entertaining plays with a maritime theme, featuring original music by island musicians. Performance also on Friday, June the 26th at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday, June the 27th, 7:30 p.m. Sunday, June the 28th, 2:30 p.m. Trinity Theatre, The Grove, Cowes. Email info@trinitytheatrecowes.org or phone 295 229. And on the same day, Vector's Brass Band concert at 8 p.m. A free outdoor bandstand concert by Vector's Brass Band, Reelston Gardens Bandstand, Popham Road, Shanklin. Email jjtaylor15@hotmail.co.uk.
On Saturday the 4th of July, the social morning with a talk by Mark Earp at 10:30 a.m. A social morning with refreshments, raffle and a talk by guest speaker, Ryde Baptist Church, George Street, Ryde. And you can email ann.barrett4@btopenworld.com or phone 077 532 5021.
And on Saturday the 27th of June, 3 12-word stories workshop at 10 a.m. 12-word story writing and collage workshop with writer Anne-Marie Bowler and artist Teresa Grimaldi at Key Arts, 15 C Street, Newport. Email info@keyarts.org.
And now we have some letters to the editor. Not as easy as just raising the age. From Peter Shreve, Assistant District Secretary to the Isle of Wight National Education Union. The government raising the age to 16 to access social media. If only it was that simple. Australia has arguably shown us what not to do. 3/4 of Australian teens are already back on social media. Do parents know what their children access or how many have been pushed by the ban into more dangerous online spaces? What does the government here need to do? Perhaps they should read the House of Commons report from less than 12 months ago. Social media, misinformation and harmful algorithms. One key conclusion: algorithms do not effectively differentiate between harmless and harmful engaging content. Consider the phrase, people kill people, not guns or social media companies. A violent person is far less likely to kill throwing a punch than a violent person with a knife. A knife surely increases the probability of injury or death. Surely one issue is social media companies abdicating their responsibility for sharing harmful content. Another, making money using their toxic algorithms rather than protecting children online. The recent House of Commons report clarified their responsibilities. Users should be held liable for what they post online, but the platforms they post on are also responsible.
Warner Ferry deals should go both ways, by Maureen Jones of Ventnor. I wonder how many islanders travel to a Warner hotel on the mainland each year. Warner holidays are easy, especially for we oldies who are not especially mobile. Everything: accommodation, meals, daytime activities, and evening entertainment are all in the same place. When visitors come to one of the island Warner locations, they are offered discounted ferry tariffs. Do islanders realise they are not offered the same consideration? Do we all know, but just accept it? Can I please ask those of you affected to complain, as I have done? Apparently the ferry concessions once were granted to Isle of Wight residents travelling to Warner locations on the mainland. However, it was explained to me, we have introduced a new booking system which does not allow this facility. Well, why not? That is just wrong and discriminatory. I have sent a copy of my letter to the person I believe to be the managing director to my MP, Joe Robertson. However, I think it will need more voices of complaint so Warner will take more notice. The address for correspondence is Mr. Pomeroy, Warner Hotels, Bourne Holidays Limited, 1 Park Lane, Hemel Hempstead, HP2 4YL. I hope others will feel moved to complain.
Like the jungle, name and address supplied. The last few times we have walked down from Wheelers Bay Car Park in Ventnor to the seafront, it has been incredibly overgrown. We've battled with stinging nettles and it has been like fighting through jungle undergrowth. I'm hoping someone sees this and the next time we walk there will have been cut back.
Painter wins top prize with colourful tribute. The creation of a colourful tribute to a music legend has won top prize in an art competition. Island artist Zoe Keynes impressed Isle of Wight festival boss John Giddings with her vibrant digital portrait of Jimi Hendrix, earning her first place in the Brave Island and Imbola Museum and Gallery's Experience Hendrix art competition. Mr. Giddings, who judged the entries, said, "I was impressed with all of the entries, but for me, Zoe's was a clear winner." The 21-year-old winner described her entry as a vibrant digital artwork capturing Hendrix in an expressive, almost abstract style, using bold neon colours against a deep black background. She said, "As both an artist and a guitar player, this was really fun to design and create. This piece emphasises movement and emotion over realism, giving the sense of being immersed in music. The piece is how I feel when I listen to his music." In addition to winning 2 tickets to this year's Isle of Wight Festival, Zoe also has her artwork on display at the Experience Hendrix exhibition at Imbola Museum and Galleries. Joanna Macaulay, creative director of the exhibition, said, "Zoe's work stood out for its energy and vintage vibe."
And that's all we have time for today, so it's goodbye from Madeline.
And goodbye from Sam. The BBC In Touch programme follows and the Scaffolding and Skips News follows that.
Hello. Later, 2 sisters, 2 swimmers, representing 2 different countries in the upcoming Commonwealth Games. Intrigued? Well, listen on. But first, it's a day for 2s, 2 visually impaired shoppers. You don't need much imagination to understand why shopping can be quite a challenge for both blind and partially sighted people. Locating the stuff you want, that's hard enough, while shops constantly change their layouts, and then getting up close enough to understand if what you've found is really what you wanted. Various retailers have made efforts to help with these problems, but in our experience, such attempts often come and go, and they can be inconsistent in the way in which they're offered. So when it came to our ears that one of the country's most recognisable brands, John Lewis, has been conducting a 3-month trial of a guided shopping service for visually impaired customers. With a potential view to taking it national, we decided to run the rule over it ourselves. So, at the weekend, we dispatched blind couple Emma and Dave Williams to the flagship John Lewis store on London's Oxford Street to see how it worked.
Oxford Street, Emma, shopping mecca.
You know I love it.
Oh, well, I don't. Do you know what you're looking for?
Well, we're going on this holiday, so I need some kind of formal dress.
Do you know how long you're going to be?
As long as it takes, dear.
Oh, okay. Although, to be fair, they have got tellies in there, haven't they? So
Oh, yeah.
we do need a new telly, I think. Ours could be on its way pretty soon.
Is that what you're looking at today, then?
Well, I reckon.
Okay.
And maybe a sound bar.
What's your vision like, Emma?
Just light and dark.
Okay, so do you know colours, if I was to
I know
describe-
colours if you told me them.
Yes.
Like, I can picture them in my head, but I
Okay.
can't see them.
Okay, I'm Fiona Matheson. I'm
Okay.
the bespoke shopper here at John Lewis.
So, Fiona, today I'm looking for an evening dress to wear on the formal night for a cruise.
Right.
So, probably something that's not floor length, but I don't mind long.
Okay.
And the colours that I kind of like are sort of pinks or maybe burgundies, that kind of thing.
Okay. And what time of year is the cruise? When are you going?
So it's end of August, but it's Norway, so it's going to be a little bit cooler than here.
Okay. That's
So
lovely.
maybe something with a little sleeve.
Okay, I think we should be able to find that for you.
Okay.
Have a feel of this one. It's blue and white. It's an electric blue, so it's quite a strong blue.
Yeah.
It's got your sleeves, collar, unbuttons down the front.
It's not making me go, ooh, yeah, if you get what I
It's
mean.
about the fabric, isn't it, and the feel of it, and knowing that you are going to enjoy wearing that next
Yeah.
to your skin.
Yeah. Not the shape.
So we're in the lift.
Yeah,
So we're going up to tech. So on what floor do we find the technology?
we're going up to 5 now.
Okay.
I'm Scott. I lead the VIP projects.
All right, Scott. I am interested in smart TVs.
Sure, let's take a walk down there.
All right, cheers.
wanna grab my shoulder?
Thank you.
Did you have a particular brand of TV you wanted to check out? Or?
I'm curious which ones you think have the best accessibility features, really,
Sure.
for somebody who's blind. So,
Okay, I'm just going to ask my colleague here. Can you talk us through all the TVs, or are you just with one brand?
I'm with one brand. I can talk you through TVs. I don't mind.
Sure.
But what's he looking for? Can I have an idea what to show?
Yeah, so it's accessibility really is the thing. So I know that some of the TVs have voice guidance.
HBO Max, sci-fi, a mythic and emotionally charged hero's journey. June tells the story of Paul.
So finally on our way home. Was it what you were expecting in terms of the service and help and support?
Yeah. The gentleman who was guiding us had obviously had some training. He knew what he was doing. The personal shopping lady, she was very, very good. She was very honest as well, which I think as someone who's blind, that's what you want. You want somebody to be honest with you about whether something looks good on you or not. I would definitely go back and ask for her again to help me find things that I wanted.
I think it was a bit more of a mixed bag on the technology front. The lovely chap who was showing me the TV, he was a rep, which is fine, but obviously he wasn't able to show me any other TVs, from other manufacturers, so it was a little bit more difficult for me, I think, to be able to compare and contrast. And so obviously this training has been received by the staff who work for the store, but where you've got effectively a store within a store or a representative from one of the brands, they haven't necessarily had that training. I think overall, good experience though.
Yeah, really. Brilliant day.
Do you think you're going to wear the dress on the holiday?
Absolutely I am. Exactly what I bought it for.
Perhaps we shouldn't talk about what it cost.
No, that's a secret.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, a very happy Emma and a slightly less happy Dave Williams looking at his wallet. So what plans do John Lewis have for wider rollout of this scheme? I'm joined by Paul Marsden, who's head of the Oxford Street store. Paul, first of all, your reactions to their reactions.
Hi, Peter. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear them have such a positive experience in the shop. Scott, Fiona and the rest of the team were clearly super helpful. We clearly need to do a bit more on TVs, but we're in the early stages at the moment, so we'll make sure we get onto that as well.
Yeah, because that raises an interesting point, isn't it? Which is what Dave was saying, is I want to be shown this by somebody who can show me the whole range, not someone who's trying to sell me who they're a representative of.
For sure, and we have many partners across the audio and television tech department up there who can sell you right across the whole assortment. So it's just a matter of getting the right person there for Dave. We've got lots of people with so much product knowledge in that space.
Now, the branch ran a 3-month trial, I think, of this scheme. What were your conclusions?
Well, at the moment, Peter, I think we're still in the early stages. I think we need to learn a little bit more. But what we do know is that this is something where we've now trained 20 partners across the shop in support with Blind Aid helping us to do that.
Blind Aid, for those who don't know, is a charity helping visually impaired people based in London.
It's proving popular already, and I think we'll see it elevate even further in the next few months.
Well, I'm not hearing an absolute, we are definitely going to roll this out nationally, which, you know, not all blind people live in the centre of London.
Absolutely true, Peter, of course. Now, Scott, who's brought this service along in John Lewis, Oxford Street, he's very passionate about this because of his experience with his own grandmother. But not every branch has a Scott right now. So what we're doing is making it work, really proving the trial. And once we've got a package that we can give to our other shops, we hope that we might be able to roll it out further in the future.
So just to check what can actually now happen at the Oxford Street branch, could someone now just turn up and ask for a guide, or do you have to book? What's the procedure?
Absolutely, a customer could just turn up, but then that's a bit more hopeful that we've got the right people in place. What's absolutely best if you could book in advance via an email address, psos@johnlewis.co.uk, and that way we can make sure that we've got everything needed in place for you at the time.
How have your staff been trained over issues like, you know, good ways to guide, the big differences between individuals' degree of sight, the fact that degrees of independence vary? It's one thing to know the store, it's another thing to know the kind of information that blind and partially sighted people need.
Yes, absolutely. And it is, of course, very specialist. And that's why, with the help of Blind Aid, we've provided really specialised sight-guided training to our team. And they use filters to recreate varying degrees of visual impairment, which helps our partners experience that firsthand. And then when they come face-to-face with their customers, they can really support them without compromising their independence as well.
Paul Marsden, thank you very much indeed. Now, the Commonwealth Games is coming to Glasgow next month, and it's one of the events which has been something of a pioneer with the idea of running mainstream and para events in tandem as part of the same competition. This year there are 6 para sports represented, including swimming, taking part in which are 2 visually impaired sisters, both who have Stargardt's disease and who are likely to create something of a stir, partly because of their ability and partly because, despite being sisters, they're competing for different countries. 17-year-old Astrid Carroll, who'll swim for Team Scotland, and Ursula, who's 14 and she swims for Team England. I'm delighted to say they're both joining us. Astrid will come on to the swimming, of course, but first, just explain, how come you're going to be competing for 2 different countries?
We both live in England, but I was born in Edinburgh and I spent like the first couple of years of my life there. And I think for me, it was always like my dream to go home and represent them and stuff and go back. I don't know, I've always felt quite akin to them.
And I think there are a few of the team who tried to talk you into it, was that right?
Yeah, I mean they're such a lovely and supporting team, which can it can't harm there either. So that's so nice as well.
Right. Whereas on the other hand, Ursula, you're swimming for England, and that, I guess, is because that's actually where you live now, yeah?
Yeah, yes. I've almost all my life lived in England and I was born in Halifax, so it's really nice to be representing my home through and through.
That sounds like a good Halifax accent. Astrid, are you
Very
going to have
much.
to adopt a Scottish accent in order to be accepted?
Maybe. The funny thing is, Ursula's the one that can do the Scottish accent out of both of us, so I won't give you a rendition of that.
Okay. All right. That's disappointing.
Sorry.
Now you both excel in multiple swimming strokes. Ursula, you set a new European record, I think, in your category in the 200 metres individual medley, which of course involves 4 strokes. And Astrid, you won 2 medals, one in breaststroke, one in backstroke at last year's World Championships, which is how you kind of emerged on the scene. So could you be competing against each other in these Commonwealth Games?
Yes. So for the para categories, all the visually impaired swimmers swim together as S13, which is like the visually impairment category with the most amount of sight in para swimming. So for the Commonwealth Games, there's only 2 events. So it's 50 free and 100 free. So it's like front crawl. And I think that's quite interesting because it's neither one of our main stroke. So we're both competing against each other, but we're also competing against each other in like a different stroke, which I think is really interesting. So I think it'd be quite fun that.
Also, generally, I'm an S13 and Astrid's an S12, so it's nice to have an opportunity to be competing against each other where usually we'd be quite separate.
So it's like one of the only times you can be together.
Right. So because Astrid, that's because your sight is not as good as Ursula's. Is that right? That's how the categories work. Yeah.
Yes.
So how did the swimming enthusiasm start for both of you? We better start with Astrid because I guess you being the older one, you were the one who first got interested.
Yeah, I think I dragged her so along with me. I've always loved the water. I think I wanted to be a mermaid when I was younger, so I think that started it off. No, but I lived in Abu Dhabi for a while when I was younger. And I think swimming is quite a big part of the community there just because it's so warm and there's like a pool in every apartment. So I think from there, I was like, this is just so fun. I remember just sitting in a pool, spinning around in circles alone and was just like really happy. So then when I came back to the UK when I was like 7, I was like, how can I get involved in this in more of a competitive way? And then it just kind of went from there.
So Ursula, presumably you thought, well, if Astrid's going to do this, so am I.
Yeah, well, I was dragged along to all of Astrid's competitions and I would just be sitting there in the very warm, humid sands like, why can't I just get in the pool? So eventually I persuaded my mum to sign me up to my first competition, which was really nice. And then me and Astrid have just been doing it together ever since.
I mean, you're 3 years apart in age. I mean, how competitive are you with each other?
I would say a nice competitive. I think for me, it's nice. We have like little competitions, but ultimately it's just such like a nice, friendly relationship, which is, I think it's lovely to be able to have that like both competitive, but be like ultimately at the end of the day, it's not that serious with it. So I think it really takes a spin on something that should be quite competitive and like quite overwhelming. So it's just nice, definitely having someone always at these competitions being like, I can turn to you and be like, we're doing this together and it's going well.
Yeah, like it's very motivating, but also to have a role model like Astrid, who has been in the sport for a lot longer than me. It's really interesting to go to every competition and have someone to follow has been very, very helpful.
It's a tough life though, isn't it, competitive swimming? I mean, up at 4 a.m, I gather, anything up to 6 days a week. I think you're doing 3 at the moment, so that you can practice, I guess, in an empty pool. Tough for you, tough for your parents. How do you keep going?
It just purely comes down to enjoying it. And I think for me, over all these years, how I've managed to be like, I want to do this is just every so often I think to myself, would I rather be asleep? And sometimes it's like, yes, but ultimately it's like, I love what I do and I'm there and I'm like, this is what's kind of keeping me sane, which is quite nice. And I think it's busy, but it also leaves no time to be like, do you know what I mean? Like with school and with like with social life and with swimming, it just like all fits in really nicely. I pack like a lot of bags into the car every morning when we do morning training, and it's just like, that's my school bag, that's my swim bag, let's just go and I'll be back sometime this evening.
And for both of you, what are your ambitions in these Games and in the future, I guess?
Especially for me in these games, because I'm the youngest on the England team. I really just want to kind of experience a bigger venue, like a bigger crowd, and try and get used to an international environment, but in like the comfort of Britain, if that makes any sense. And being able to look up to so many amazing swimmers in my England team has really like motivated me and makes me really want to carry on with the sport as far as I can go.
And at your event, the individual medley, that's pretty tough, isn't it? 50 metres and then in 4 different strokes.
Yeah, I find it really interesting, the fact that you have to quickly switch up between the strokes. So you really have to, once you've got into one of them, you have to go on to the next one and then on to the next one and to the next one. And it just means that you don't have much time to overthink it. So you've really just got to just do it. And it makes it kind of more enjoyable, especially for me as someone who has probably a shorter attention span, just to be able to carry on through the race.
Just one more question for both of you. Do you like the idea that these games, unlike the Paralympics, actually combine mainstream and disability-specific competition alongside each other? What's your feeling about that?
I think it's amazing. I think it's so nice because it's one of the only, as you said, one of the only integrated games. So I think that's a lovely thing to have because you get to experience it with a whole different bunch of athletes, especially it being like home teams as well, home nations. So you've just got a whole different group of people that you get to be like, we're doing this together. And I think that's what's so nice. And I think with the layout of this Commonwealth Games, it seems very like kind of like family orientated and integrated like that.
And I guess presumably as well, you come across the swimmers in the other teams, you know, what I might call the mainstream team, if that's a legitimate way to look at it.
Yeah, so I think definitely since I've got into the sport, so a lot of the competitions have started becoming integrated. So like our main competition, British Champs, every year that happens in April, that started being both able-bodied people, so people without disabilities, and paraswimmers. So I think that's quite nice because it's kind of really showing this path to kind of equality, and like it's just nice that they've started doing that and moving towards that.
Well, Astrid and Ursula Carroll, thank you very much for talking to us, and of course good luck to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And of course we'll be reporting on our visually impaired competitors in the Commonwealth Games when they come around. It starts on July the 23rd. And that's it for today. As always, we welcome your views, experiences, suggestions for stories we should cover, and your personal shopping experiences. Don't forget those. Email us at intouch@bbc.co.uk or leave your voice messages on 0161 836 1338. From me, Peter White, and producer Beth Hemmings, goodbye.
Scaffolding and skips news for the week commencing the 19th of June.
In the Newport area, 62 St James Street, Roach Pittis 60 to 66 Lugley Street, 34 Upper St James Street, 31 Orchard Street.
In the Ryde area, 141 High Street, Morrison's Daily, Union Street, 53 Union Street, 5 Union Street and Nat West Bank, St Thomas's Square.
Cowes and East Cowes area, 29 Cross Street, The Parade Public Toilets, Bath Road, Eramew Court, Bridge Road, 36 Sun Hill.
In the Ventnor area, Ventnor Youth Centre, Victoria Street, Rose Inn, Pier Street.
Sandown area, 27 High Street, Napoleon's Landing, Esplanade.
Yarmouth area, nothing to report.
Alveston area, Alveston Farmhouse, Main Road.
In Brading, Old Town Hall, High Street.
Seaview, opposite the Seaview Beach Shop.